Jake Rowe. Hey, go ahead, Dean.
Todd, I'm having some technical difficulties. Can you come back to me?
Okay, go ahead, Dean.
Kirby, we talked about this earlier in the year. How do y'all as a staff figure out a way to develop players that are playing or that are younger and putting them in the game before maybe they would earn it? Do you understand what I'm saying? Might not be asking it the right way, but there are younger guys that maybe you'll see that will play later in the year that could help you more in the year. Ben Cleveland was a little bit maybe that way in 2017. How do y'all figure that out as you go along here, a quarter way through the season?
Still don't know if I understand. You're saying how do we figure out who plays and who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, if there's a really talented young player and you're saying, well, he's not playing a ton right now, but we might need him in November or beyond. When do y'all start making those decisions to play guys like that?
It's a continuum, I mean, like you play the guy that gives you the best opportunity to win the game, right? That's what you do. And every decision we make is based on our opportunity to win the game. I don't know that we look down the road. In practice, we do. We say, okay, this guy's really talented, but he doesn't know our system, offense or defense or special teams, but he's talented. So we might put him in a position to get reps and be a 2 and grow. And then, hey, we're up in this game. Let's get him in there and let's get him some experience. But we never put him in there before another guy gives a better chance to win, right? Because one play can decide a game. And, the left tackle blocks the wrong guy and the quarterback gets hit from the blind side. And I would never put somebody in there before they were the best guy to play the game, I guess. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
It's an awkward question. Thank you.
Let's go to Anthony Dasher and then to Mike Griffith.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you today. Just seeing if you had an update on Darnell and Quay.
They both were running and doing cardio yesterday, did a good job. They ran today. They did not do their position work, meaning they didn't go and take reps. But I was just walking off the field and they both ran really good today. They both hit really good speeds. I talked to both of them walking off the field. They felt really good about where they were. They felt really comfortable. They're not in cleats yet. Cleats aren't the best thing to run in for that foot injury, but they're in the rubber turf shoes and they're running really well and they built up their volume. So we'll increase that tomorrow and see where they are. They're in a much better place, and I'm really pleased. I mean, I saw them running with black shirts on today, and I was like, who is that? That guy looks fast. But it was those guys, Quay and Darnell.
Kirby, in light of the way you answered Dean's question, I guess I kind of wonder a little bit about some of the speculation we've heard about Broderick Jones moving in at left tackle and working him in. I guess I would ask you, where is that at and how important would it be for him to get in a game like this?
Well, he's played, right? Or he played I know he played in the last 2 games. He played, during the rotation. Number one, I think it helps Jamari's conditioning. Number 2, he's a good football player, and we feel like he's earned the right to play by the way he's practiced through spring ball and through camp. We're not ready to say that he's a starter right now, and he still has some mental hiccups and mental bust, and he'll be the first to tell you he went in and during the UAB game and Stetson threw a touchdown pass and they completely botched it and he blocked the guy, and Stetson got the ball off before the guy could get there, and then he blocked the wrong guy on Kendall Milton's fumble. The guy was unblocked and didn't block his guy. So he's got to clean those things up and get better. But one thing I like about Broderick is he's always trying to get better. Like he'll come ask you, what can I do better? What can I do here? What can I do there? And he's competing. I mean, we're going to put the best 5 out there. It's also Jamari, we feel like right now is playing better at tackle than he has at guard. So it's a lot more to it than just what everybody thinks. I think you guys just think you just plug and play, but we're trying to get the best combination of guys out there, and that's the work in progress.
Let's go to Mark Weiser and then Chip Towers.
Kirby, when you think about elite defenses that you've had been a part of coaching, what does that look like, and does it give you a standard for where your guys still have to go?
When I think of elite defenses, what do I think of?
Yeah, like you've obviously coached a lot of teams through your career that have been pretty impressive. When you look at these guys, I mean, that's obviously a standard that you've had in the past, some of your better teams.
Yeah, I think everyone's different. They have different identities. I've been around some really good ones, and they've all been different. I mean, some have been good because of the secondary, some have been good because of the front, some has been a combination of both. Everyone's different, has a different personality and identity, and that's usually created by the staff that spends time with them. And I think, our defensive staff, the likes of Dan and Glenn and Jamal and Trey and Will have done a really good job of getting the players to take on their personality, and they bought into that. So it's been a good vibe on defense, and those guys have really done a tremendous job. But this is a different group. This is a really athletic group. I don't know that I've had an athletic front seven like this. I've been much deeper in the secondary, but I don't know that I've had a group as athletic as this group that can move and twist. And in today's college football world, that gives you a chance because of all the spread stuff.
Coach, looking forward to talking to Jordan Davis lately, and it's hard not to notice him. Obviously, he's a big guy, and seems to really be getting around. Had a lot of highlights for you early on. He's always been 6'6", 350 to 330 or whatever. But what is really making a difference that's allowing him to play at the level it appears that he's playing at this season? Are you seeing everything you had hoped to see out of Jordan Davis eventually this year?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Jordan. I think he's a tremendous worker, tremendous person. I think you're seeing this side of Jordan that we had seen prior, but Trey has done a great job honing in his skill set. He initially was a block striker, an anchor, I would say, that was, the immovable object, and that was great, but that only gets you so far. And to get tackles for a loss, you got to be quick. You got to stunt step. You got to have twists. You got to have gains. And I think where Trey and Dan and Shu and all the guys on the defensive staff have done a great job of creating movement so that guys up front can make plays. We went a long time without being sack leaders and getting a lot of sacks and getting a lot of TFLs. And the whole havoc came about probably 2 or 3 years ago. I guess that word started popping up. And if you want to be a good havoc team, you got to move. You got to stunt people. You got to bring people. And that's changed Jordan, because that wasn't Jordan's, it wasn't his expertise. It wasn't what he was great at. And he's taken pride in doing that. Not necessarily by being lighter, because he's not necessarily lighter, but he is quicker.
Let's go to Seth Emerson, and then we'll check back with Jake Rowe.
Kirby, obviously you didn't get to play Vanderbilt last year. What do you remember about your emotions finding out the second time about the cancellation that you weren't going to have that game? And how much effort did you all go through to get another game? And how close did you come that week to getting another game?
My emotions were just disappointment, because the players had prepared. I think we'd already prepared once, maybe. I can't even remember that season, but I know that there was an expectation we were going to get to play them, and it was more about, I guess, home game, right? It's about our last home game, and for the seniors, I wanted it because they had meant so much for our program, and so many of them had been through, turnaround, and I just wanted the game for them. And then when the coach called me, the interim coach called me, I was like, man, golly, it hurt. But I understood it was beyond his control, and it is what it is. I really didn't do much to find a game. I mean, I texted a couple people just hoping, but it was too short notice. And I know some of the people upstairs and Josh tried to call and work some things out, but there was no realistic shot. I don't think. It was never like it was close to anything.
Hey, Kirby, we were out there yesterday, got to see George do a little something. First time we've seen him in a long time, and noticed he kind of came over and talked to you a little bit during the middle of that. What has this whole situation been like for George in your conversations with him? And, how's his progression going right now? How is he healing up?
Yeah, I was excited for George. I guess I can't remember when it was, 2 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, Monday, or 2 weeks ago, Tuesday. He had a meeting with Dr. Andrews, and he visited with him. And of course, he's the the foremost authority, and Ron went and his mother went. They had a sit down meeting, and he felt like he was in a really good spot and cleared him to do some, football activity in terms of route running and things on air, not contact. And George is running really well. He's a special guy when it comes to coming off of injury. I mean, he's out there running, catching balls. I mean, you wouldn't think just watching him there's anything wrong with him. But Ron has a protocol, and Ron's following that exactly. George has done a tremendous job of doing what he's supposed to do in rehab, being where he's supposed to be. And he works out, during the practice. He only gets a little bit of time with us. He's prescribed, like 15, 20 minutes at the beginning of practice. And then he goes and does his rehab program and his lifting program. And he's done a great job of doing that. So what is the prognosis? I don't know. I don't know the timeline on that. I do know that he's working really hard, and we've not made it about, George's return. That's not what we talk about. We talk about George getting healthy, and that's what we've consistently sold to him.
Okay, let's go to Palmer Toms and then come back and get a red and black question.
Yeah, along those same lines with George, and previous ACL injuries you've seen, does it come across that George would be ahead of schedule on some of those previous injuries?
I'm not a good judge of that. I mean, you'd have to ask Ron Corson that, because I don't, Ron's done thousands of ACLs, it seems like, since being here, and he would tell you better. He does say that George's, his recovery, his body is just naturally on top of it. And it wasn't as bad as some of the others. Others had multiple tears in there. His was not as bad as Nick's and some of those guys.
Yeah, Coach, I want to ask you, what's impressed you most about Cedric Van Pran's development this season, sliding in on the line there, and what gives you the confidence that he's going to be able to keep performing to that level later on in SEC play?
Well, his character, he's a leader, he's smart, he's very intentional, just a very serious dude when it comes to his work ethic and his habits. He does a tremendous job.
Okay, let's go to Vance Levy and then to David Pascal.
Hey, Kirby, you're a third of the way through the regular season. Has the intensity and focus been where you wanted it the last 2 days? And then Harris English will be representing the United States in the Ryder Cup later. Got any message for him? And then what's it like having all those guys representing Georgia out there on the tour?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, we got so many dollars on tour. It's really incredible what they've been able to do. And Harris stopped by practice not too long ago and brought his dad with him and his caddy, and it was great to see him out there. Really proud of what he's been able to do, and he's a great person, and he represents University of Georgia the right way. I know I love being around him, but we're pulling for him in the Ryder Cup. It's one of the most watched and coolest events there is in all of sports to me. I love it, so I'll be tuning in to see how he does. And as far as our focus and energy, I think it's really been good. We've tried to change up practice the last 2 days and do some different things and have some competitions. And we've done some more. They've got some similarities to us, offense and defense. So we've done some more 1-on-1s, 2s-on-2s, and we try to change things up just so they don't get bored. But they've been focused and they've handled it the right way. And I'll feel a lot better if they do that tomorrow as well.
Kirby, this is kind of similar to what Seth asked you, but when you go back to last year, I mean, Christopher Smith said yesterday that there's no resentment, but when you talk about the players last December, when this game was canceled, was there anger? I know there was disappointment over the seniors, but was there kind of anger? Not that George is using that as motivation this week, but do you remember players kind of experiencing any anger?
Not really. I think frustration is a better word. Anger is probably not a better term. I mean, I just think frustrated with the whole process, and it was a long year, and it was at the end of it. And, there'll probably be some guys that would say they were glad. I hate to say it, but they were probably tired, and guys that didn't think they were going to play. And then you got a group of guys that want to play every game because it's an opportunity to get better. And it's an opportunity to make a statement about who we are. And for some guys, it's their last home game, but not anger. I think frustration is a better adjective.
Okay, we're going to take 2 more questions. Let's go to Connor Riley, and then we'll finish up with Jed May.
Hey, Kirby, you touched on Jamari playing well at tackle earlier. Does that surprise you that, A, he's played there for so long, given, we talked to him last week and he never really thought that was a possibility for him given his height? And what has made him such a good offensive tackle, being the difficulties that come with playing that position?
Well, I think it's his athleticism. He's got really good feet. You know, he's got an ability to strong, really strong. So when he stays in front of people, it's hard to get around. You know, he's got a lot of experience playing out there. He's played at a high level last year and did a good job against some really good pass rushers. So it's not that he can't play guard, because he's played good football at tackle. I mean, that's not an easy place to play in this league. It's probably the most exposed position there is. And I think Coach Munkin does a good job, you know, helping him with tight ends, helping him with chips and things like that. But I never doubted that he could play it. And in some ways, he plays with more confidence there than he does inside.
Kirby, you talked a little bit yesterday about, and you know, you mentioned this a lot about the scout team helping guys develop and all that kind of stuff. I was just wondering if Quay Walker is one of those guys that kind of falls into that category, and, you know, just overall, how has he developed, you know, since he got here into one of the key figures of the inside linebacker rotation?
Yeah, Quay's come a long way, man. I was kidding Quay today at walkthrough that he used to get so frustrated when he didn't know something, and there were so many little words and nuggets in our defense, and Quay would just get so mad. And I think he thought at times he would never learn it. He got frustrated. He struggled academically early, and there were times that he you know, he's like, I don't want to go to college. I'm tired of it. I'm frustrated. I'm not playing. I was highly rated coming out, but man, has he made a turn. You know, somewhere at the beginning of last year, really the spring before last year, he just, I know he didn't have spring ball, but just he made a leadership turn, and he committed to being excellent and doing what he's supposed to off the field, and on the field became much more student of the game. And he holds people accountable now. And it's like, this is the guy that wouldn't do it, and now he's doing it all. So it's pretty awesome to see how far he's come. And I love watching players grow like that, because, you know, I got to sit in his house for a long time, and now getting to see him, he's like a different person.
Thank you, Coach Mark. Everybody, please, you can